Hello, welcome to Double Strike Recap. Today I'm gonna review a 2016 science fiction action film, Alegiant. Spoilers ahead. As we start the film we see Triss and Four climbing up an abandoned building. They arrive at the top and discuss if they have seen anything outside the Chicago city walls. Triss believes she saw something through the wall, and she and Four share a hug. They are interrupted by Evelyn's broadcast warning the citizens not to venture beyond the walls, and that a trial will soon begin for those who betrayed the city. Later, Triss asks Tori to get some supplies for her. Tori claims it's impossible to get the number of items but still promises to deliver the item requested. Triss, Christina, and Tori are greeted by Peter, who they ignore. They meet Johanna, who tells Triss her place is with the city leaders. Triss refuses, stating she doesn't want to make any rules. Johanna countered by saying that true leaders are called by necessity and that the people of the city need them. The trial for former Dauntless leader Max begins when he is led to stand trial by Candor faction leader Jack. Jack addresses the crowd, apologizing for his past failures and promising the pursuit of honesty for the city's future. Max is given the truth serum and he admits that he feels people are nothing more than sheep and must be eliminated if they go against their shepherd. This angered the crowd, but some called for Max to be spared. Johanna silences the crowd, reminding them that the former leader is now gone and that people shouldn't keep her spirits alive. He quickly realizes that the process is not a trial, but Evelyn claims it is, and that she is simply following the will of the people. Max is removed and the crowd cheers. Johanna expresses her disgust and leaves the trial while the crowd boos her as she walks out. Triss' brother Caleb calls him and tells him he is sorry, and forewarns Evelyn that Evelyn must control the mob that now sides with her. Afterward, Evelyn confronts the Four and asks if she thinks she can stop the people from leaving town. He went even further, questioning his war with the previous leader of the city. Evelyn said the Four would understand one day and that all of his actions were for her. Sometime later, Four and Triss discuss leaving town. Four questions if there is something out there, but Triss states she can't live without trying. Four asks about Caleb's trial the next day, and Triss flatly states she doesn't owe Caleb anything. The next day, Four retrieve Caleb from the trial but are stopped outside by several guards. Four pretend to deal with Caleb and the guards leave. Four tells Caleb to thank Triss for saving him, and he declares it is something to do for the family. As they were leaving, Peter pulled over and forced them to let him join them on the run. The group goes to one of the gates and the Four are questioned by a guard about Caleb. The guard demanded to see some documents, and Christina appeared with the necessary documents. The gate opened, and they fled. However, Edgar knows the Four have betrayed him, for helping Caleb escape and trying to get over the wall. Triss and the group get ready, and Four lead the group to pass through the wall. Christina was startled by the electric fence above her. Triss returns to disable it, while the Four cover Triss from the oncoming bodyguards. They all move over the fence, but Tori is badly injured by Edgar, and the group leaves her. On the other side of the wall, Four led a group, and they came to see a war-torn expanse. Caleb explains that the soil, contaminated with radioactivity in the last 200 years due to the color of the dirt. The group ran after being attacked. They take shelter in an abandoned building, and Christina ponders if there is life outside the walls. After a storm, Caleb hears something behind them, and Edgar appears to chase after the group. Everyone runs and Four defend the group. Edgar chases them in his vehicle but is stopped when troops appear out of thin air to protect Triss and his friends. The group is greeted and taken away, and Triss reassures Four that everything is going to be okay. They approach the new city and are astounded by the technology. Triss is greeted by Walter, who escorts them to be decontaminated. Inside, she is instructed to burn her old clothes and is processed through decontamination. She receives an identification mark and exits. She reunites with everyone, and Christina notices everyone's ID mark is different. The lights turn off, and they are introduced to the Bureau of Genetic Welfare. They are shown the past mistakes of humans who tried to alter the human genome and caused great divides in humanity. Walter appears and asks everyone to follow him as he explains life inside the Bureau. Walter informs them that Chicago was an experiment, the main focal point of the Bureau, and that they are celebrities to the people in the Bureau. Inside the Bureau, Triss asks Four his opinion on their current situation. He wants to find out more about their new home, and Triss asks for him to give things a chance. Walter interrupts them to bring Triss to the director of the Bureau. Triss scans her wrist and is brought up to see the director. 4 rushes outside to see where she is being brought and watches her leave. Tris expresses her amazement at the world outside Chicago, and Walter gives her the scope of how big the world is, highlighting that most cities are like Chicago, except for Providence. They arrive and Walter leaves Tris to meet the director, David. He regales her about how he watched her grow from birth and how he thinks she is a miracle. She asks about Chicago and he says that he intends to restore order to rescue the damaged who are living there. He explains that the Bureau's goal was to help heal the human genome naturally over time in Chicago. He also tells Tris that she is the only one who has ever had a pure human genome in Chicago. David goes on to explain that he answers to the council and that he will bring her to Providence to meet them and show them the results of the Chicago experiment. He also tells her that her mother wasn't born in Chicago, but outside the walls and was rescued by the Bureau. He shows Tris her mother's memory tabs as proof and she sees her mother's memories unfold in a vision. Later that night, Tris talks to 4 about her day, and 4 asks if she trusts David. 4 look at their ID marks for a moment and they embrace. The next day, Tris is taken to see David again by Walter, and 4 is greeted by Nita. Tris asks David why nobody else can go upstairs, she can, and he says it's one of the council rules. He reminds her that being different isn't a bad thing and goes to study her DNA. Elsewhere, Caleb and Peter follow Regina, who has assigned them to be a part of the surveillance team. Peter protests the assignment, but soon caves in and does his job. Caleb adjusts quickly to the surveillance technology while 4 is being geared up to be a part of the Bureau militia. He tries out his new gear and begins training with his drones. Caleb spies on Evelyn and Johanna having a conversation and sees how Evelyn traps Johanna. Johanna counters with an ambush of her own and there is a tense standoff. Edgar attacks and chaos ensues, and Caleb runs to make a report. Later that evening, Tris overhears Caleb giving 4 the news. 4 fills her in as well, and 4 expresses doubts about the mysterious council. 4 also reveals he knows that he is one of the damaged and asks why Tris never told him. She said it didn't matter and that the Bureau saved her mother. 4 tells her that she doesn't know what goes on outside Providence, and their talk is interrupted again by Walter summoning her to upstairs. 4 turns to Nita and demands to go out with the militia and then walks away. The next day, the militia gather to leave the Bureau and the 4 follow. Instructions were given and they landed outside, completing a rescue mission. Upon landing, 4 witnesses children being taken away and looking for people to save. He followed 2 people and witnessed one of them being seriously injured and the child being taken away. Children found outside the Bureau are collected and processed. 4 confronts Nita about what happened. Christina brings the child that 4 was following and they discover his memory has been erased. Back in Chicago, Johanna visits the victims of Evelyn's attack and vows to keep fighting. Johanna gathers her troops for battle when Caleb shows the 4 the situation. 4 goes to get Tris when Nita tries to stop him. 4 takes Regina hostage to gain access and tries to convince Tris of the truth. 4 wants to return to Chicago but Tris leaves with David. 4 receives an escort back to Chicago, and David convinces Tris that he made the right choice. Walter confides to 4 that they aren't taking him to Chicago and a fight breaks out. Walter and 4 fight the militia as the plane crashes to the surface. Tris and David arrive at Providence and the council is distrusting David and asks to hear from Tris. Tris claims the same mistakes to be made in the present that was made in the past. Tris states the division of humans is the problem and that the council isn't doing anything to help Chicago. The council informs her that David is the one in control of the Chicago situation, and he is only in Providence to extend his funding. On the way back to the Bureau, David claims he is going to bring back the factions in Chicago. He goes further claiming that Tris wants peace, but not to fight for it. Back at the wreckage, Walter hands 4 a way to get through the camouflage wall. Reminding Bureau needs his help as well, and 4 leaves to go back to Chicago. As Tris and David arrive back at the Bureau, Walter reports that 4 left him behind after the plane crash. Tris doesn't believe Walter, and he informs her of 4's plan. Peter is finally invited to meet with David, and David recruits him to take care of the Chicago problem. Later on, Peter is taken by Edgar to see Evelyn, who is concerned about 4. Evelyn threatens Peter to tell her what she wants to know, but Peter offers her a way to win her war instead. Christina goes to comfort Tris, and Caleb comes to tell Tris he found 4. Meanwhile, Peter takes Evelyn to give her a memory-wiping gas. She then uses it on former faction leader Marcus and sees the results while Caleb and Triss watch. Evelyn meets For and says she is going to end the war, while For tries to convince her to make peace. Edgar informs For that Evelyn is deciding if she will use the memory gas or not, then For attacks him, escaping. For is subdued, and Triss makes course for Chicago. She confronts David about the Chicago situation and he reveals his true intentions. She leaves on his plane, and David issues a command for her to be brought back. Caleb and Christina join Triss but are followed by the militia. Triss takes control of the plane and David gives the order to stop her by any means. They make it through the camouflage wall and they look for a way to shut down the gas. Peter pushes Evelyn to use the gas, while Triss and Christina go to rescue For. They find For and incapacitate his guards. Triss and For reunite, but Peter finally convinces Evelyn to use the memory gas. Triss and her group arrive and try to gain access to stop the gas. Evelyn claims she is the only one who knows how to save Chicago. Triss claims that the gas will wipe the whole city's memory, not just Evelyn's enemies. For also tries to convince her to stop as well, and she changes her mind, halting the gas. Peter stops her and starts the gas up again, while David watches back in the bureau. The gas is spreading through the city, and Triss is unable to communicate with Caleb. However, the gas enters Peter's chamber but he ends up escaping. Caleb rushes to Triss and shows her a way to stop the gas. She goes beneath the chamber to stop it, but David closes the door. David tries to get her to stop, cutting off her way to the gas. She then uses drones to locate the gas and deactivates the release. Triss then broadcasts her message of truth and unity to the city of Chicago and Caleb sends David's ship back to the bureau. Peter tries to negotiate a way back into the bureau and Triss and For watch as the camouflage wall is damaged, with David looming behind.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to get more video like this, turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.